high school coaches, what you should expect from a high school coach or what they can do to help you as a player. Open doors to colleges, whether that be sending out their prospect lists on time during the right during the recruiting season, before the recruiting season, making sure that's not getting out late. Calling people with that they know personally for kids, getting coaches involved in their recruiting process, telling kids about camps, promoting camps, even getting kids to camps. I know a lot of high school coaches are involved in taking buses and are taking vans with a bunch of kids to camps or showcases or whatever. So doing that kind of thing, it's all part of the job. It's not technically on the clock work, but it's something that needs to be done to be a good high school football coach. I think it's something that needs to be done, or should it be expected from players if they want to be a college athlete. They should expect that their high school coach helps them with that process, because they're supposed to be the liaison from that aspect of their life. They have advisors to help them get into college academically. They have athletically. Your main liaison should be your high school coach, in my opinion, just because that's the expertise that they feel. So yeah, making sure that they have connections, even if that takes time to on your own to email coaches or to build relationships with coaches, go clinic with college coaches, go have a drink with college coaches on the night before their games or whatever it is. And after their games, make sure that high school coaches have relationships with the college coaches, JC all the way up to D1. Locally out, you should start in your hometown and move out, but definitely have as many connections as possible. Honest evaluation, that's huge. It's funny when you get the guys that are 6'2", 250 on the roster, and then you get a film of them and they're 6 foot 225, and so that's definitely one. Be honest. It only helps yourself, I think, credibility wise, and then I think it helps your players be evaluated correctly by college coaches. If you go in and you talk about what division and your notes or whatever, be honest with that. Don't say he's a D1 guy when he's obviously a D2 guy. Now, obviously, the bordering guys, if it's a D1 AA guy versus a high-end D2 guy, we don't always expect high school coaches to understand the subtle difference. But and you always project your guys higher. I understand, but don't project a guy D1 if he's D3 or JUCO or whatever. It's just it wastes my time. A lot of the times for me, I see a guy that you ranked overranked, and I'll rank him lower now because of it, almost out of spite. Not allowed to admit that, but if you rank a guy a D1 guy and he's obviously a D3 guy, now he might be rated a 1 in my ranking class.
Right.
So just understanding that, honest evaluations off the field. Is he a good kid? Is he a bad kid? Don't tell me he's a great kid and then he has academic issues and he's off the field, been in trouble 10 times and missing class. And then whatever other offers they have, that's good to be transparent. It's huge, especially lower level coaches. If the guy has an FBS offer, I don't need to watch his film as a D3 coach. I just don't.
Yeah, go
ahead.
So yeah, just going on what you said here with the realistic evaluation there, knowing the division. Yeah, you're going to obviously want to push your guys to the highest level that they could possibly play. But at the same end, don't close doors for these kids before they have a chance to look through and see if it's something. I've had high school coaches that, oh, no, he's going D1 and won't let me talk to a kid. And it's like, well, does he have any offers? No. Okay, well, then don't close that door for him. Help him see every potential opportunity. And then if he starts getting those offers, obviously he can start closing the doors as he feels necessary. But, there are some coaches out there that will just shut it down early, and then the kid doesn't get anything. And now he's at the end of the rat race and he's trying to figure out a place, and he might have missed out on, maybe it's a potential D2 scholarship because he thought he was going to get a 1AA scholarship and it fell through. So just make sure you're not closing the doors for this kid. Let him decide, hey, this place isn't the right fit for me. Let that kid have that opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt. I think a big part of that is for both. Put ego to the side. I think players sometimes get in their own head, and someone might be telling them, but hey, I'm a D1 guy, when really they're lower level. We'll put your ego to the side, let everyone, try to talk to you, show you what they have to offer. Same with coaches. I've only been out in Texas for a little bit. I went out to Houston in my first week to recruit on the road, and I, there's definitely a difference. There's some schools that show up and they're heavily recruited by FBS schools, and sometimes there's ego in the way. Oh, Sul Ross, why, our third string guys are just going to go into the workforce.
Right.
They're not coming to sort. Well, that's, you don't know that. That's not, So I think ego to the side. It's all about in our business, in the high school business, it's all about the student athletes, point blank, period. So if you're a coach that's looking to have the most D1 guys and you're not promoting other guys just because of your own ego, are you doing it for the right reasons? That's kind of how I deal with those guys. But yeah, I think, not closing doors, like you said early, as the process goes on, there's guys I'll close the door for them. Look, man, you got 4 D1 offers. You're doing a good job responding to me, but you're not in our ballpark. Like, I appreciate you being a good kid. I appreciate you telling me who your favorite Madden team is, but we're wasting each other's time. You're not, you got a Houston offer, whatever it is. So just having those open lines of communication. But I think kids like that are the ones that I appreciate the most. The D1 kids that do that, I might, not have done my due diligence and look through his whole Twitter of all his offers before I hit him up. Then you look afterwards, you're like, oh man, like, why'd I even hit this kid? But then they respond back and you're like, okay, this kid was taught well.
Yeah.
So same thing with coaches. You never know who on your team might be interested in that school. You might have a third string running back that might fit our bill and might be a wildlife guy. Well, then you just help that kid become better, even if he didn't help your resume. It's all about the kids. So that's huge. I think all high school coaches, like I kind of talked about before, they are the liaison to the film. They have the film. They have the access to the film. They know the system better than the kids. They need to assist with highlight tapes. Any kid that expressed interest in college that has viable tape, even if they don't, help them with practice tape. So a big part of it is have film. Obviously film your games, film your practices. Have film ready, because have a kid on your team that's a great size. It's not a starter for you, but if he has a good practice film and he's 6'2", 205 and might be a safety, I might take a chance on him just because he's 6'2", 205 and he might be a guy that develops.
And make it public, because I've come across some kids where their high school huddle is private and there's not and it might be a kid who's like, well, I'm just trying to see if this kid can play some ball. So if I have to do all this extra work to find him on YouTube, or I can't find a good highlight for him, he's going to get passed by. How many schools are passing this kid by that maybe he could have a shot somewhere. So make that film public. I know that, you're not wanting your stuff to get out all the time, but again, in the best interest of the kids, make sure that's accessible for college coaches to be able to see.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't think you have to go out and chase kids that you think might be college ready. You help kids that have come to you. If a kid says, "Hey, coach, I know I'm not a starter, but I'd really like to put a highlight film together," then I think it's your duty as a coach to help that kid put together highlight film from practice or a couple plays they have. So just having that readily available is huge. And then, like we talked about before, coaches should understand we want their first plays first. Helping them design their highlight tape. Don't be lazy. You might have to put a whole week aside to help all 15 of your seniors make a highlight tape at the end of the year. But it has to be done. So I think that's a big one. It's just making sure that they're helping with creation. And then I've had coaches that I've reached out to at smaller schools around the area that didn't know how to make a prospect list or what we were looking for. So I sent them a bigger one from Houston. Hey, just use this one or copy this one, or I'm looking for this. And then I think you can, as high school coaches, you can reach out to guys at the higher levels. Coaches want to help. Coaches want to coach. So if I have a high school coach that calls me and says, hey, what do we put on a highlight? What should be first? I'll tell them. So not knowing is not an excuse. You have a lot of things that you can go to get the answers. It's just all about making sure that the kids that want to have a chance have a chance. Then be ready to make recommendations, letters, verbal recommendations on improvement. That's huge, especially while you have them still juniors. I think you should be having exit meetings, telling the kid, hey, you need to gain weight, you need to get faster, you need to go to camps, you need to, start taking your SAT, whatever it is. Have recommendations from in all levels. Be ready to write letters of rec, be ready to give verbal recommendations, and then be ready to give kids recommendations on how to improve. So I think that's huge, is pushing kids to get better within your program to help you. But kids that are already really good, don't tell the kid he doesn't need to do anything. If he was an all conference kid or an all state kid as a junior, say, hey, you need to be going to these D1 AA camps. You need to be going to these D1 camps and getting bigger, stronger, faster, because you have a shot. Or hey, you need to get yourself moving because you need to have a big senior year to have a shot, whatever it is. So being honest with your kids and being able to recommend them to certain things and giving them the opportunity.
The other thing they could do is, some of these kids, they may not have a ride to campus. They may not have a ride to camp or something like that. So if there's any way you can help set one up, or even take the time out of your day, if you can take a day to get a kid to campus to go visit and see the football program and do that sort of stuff, that's huge. I mean, that's huge for some of these guys that don't have some of the, maybe their mom and dad can't take off work, or they only got, a single parent household or something like that. That's where they need a guy. That's where they need that head coach to step in or get an assistant or somebody to step in and be able to, hey, I'll get you to the camp, or I'll get you to the campus so you can check it out, so that these kids can, again, evaluate as many of their options as possible. So that's a big thing that they can do as well.
Right, no doubt. I think integrating yourself in the community as a coach and getting as many connections as possible to help your kids out is the way to go. Especially as a high school coach. I mean, as a college coach, I'm expected to find community service things. I'm expected to find jobs around the town for kids. So the more things you can have in your pocket to help kids out, the better.